This is RPGDad,
RPGNate,
and this is our Weekly Encounters Wrap-Up. This is actually our double Weekly Encounters Wrap-Up.
Because you've been bad about it.
No, it's because we're going to do Week 6 and 7 this week, because you'll see in a minute, Week 6 was an uneventful week.
Yes.
So let's go over Week 6, and we'll probably be able to do that in under 2 minutes or less.
Yes.
Week 6, we were still in the dungeon, basically it was a dungeon crawl, the finish of a dungeon crawl. We were at the Dwarven Mines, where Jack was.
Yeah, and it went horribly.
We had rescued Jack, we had killed the boss, and it just came down to we decided to clean out the dungeon and free all the prisoners.
Yeah.
Because the people from the town and all this stuff, they were being made to mine and all kinds of garbage. So basically that's what we did. We spent the 2 hours doing a dungeon crawl, which was fun. We fought a lot, we killed a lot, we didn't take much damage, and just bam, 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 right through it.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing we did discover was there was this path where you had to figure out what was it, friend or something in Dwarven?
Yeah. Now, we had one of the players at the table that actually completed this the week before.
And he walked away.
Yeah, I told him just go do something else because I wanted you guys to actually figure it out.
And then I figured it out because I figured out that the names, and there was some saying about, you know, friend meaning more than that, and then I'm like, you know, friendship is more than a word. And it came down to whatever the Dwarven word for friendship was, the first letters on each name in these blocks, you had to walk that path, and then the door would open up. Well, the door opens up, and there's a big, I guess a relief or a carving in the wall with a hole the exact same size as the bloke that we've been looking for, the brick.
Yes.
And it would basically be the face of the person on there, and the person
was Gorm.
The person on there is the guardian god of the dwarves.
Yes.
So at this point, that's when my paladin, so let the group know, at this point the bloke is not going back to the Duke, because the Duke's a dick anyway.
Yes. And
this is basically a stolen artifact. As far as my paladin's concerned, yeah, he's lawful neutral. It doesn't have anything to do with good or evil. It's lawful. These are the rightful owners of that artifact.
Yes.
This guy's in possession of something that was stolen from them, and he can go screw himself. So I already told the group that is what we're doing. We will bring the artifact back to these people because it's theirs.
Yeah.
But that was Week 6.
Yes.
And I think we did it in under 2 minutes. Week 7. I absolutely hated Week 7.
Yes, because you were an idiot.
You go ahead and tell what happened.
So, I forget it was Harpshield?
Harpshield Castle.
Yes, so they go to Harpshield Castle.
Which is really Harpshield Ruins.
It's called Harpshield Castle.
Because it was a castle, but it's ruins. Everything's busted up.
Yeah, but they call it Harpshield Castle, so that's what I'm going to call it, since that's probably what you guys know it as.
Exactly.
So they go in because...
Well, we didn't just go in. We came to it.
Hold on. So you come in, and the way you came, you were at the ruined wall. I figured that out because we had the map there, and I figured the way you probably would have went.
Yeah, the path we took.
Yeah. So you go up, and you notice archers in slits.
In the tower. The tower's like the only surviving...
There was like an arc that was like a bridge from a detached tower and the actual castle. Mm-hmm. And the tower, I think it was still in good shape.
The tower's the only building that was still in usable shape. The rest of the place looked like it was wrecked.
There was some of it that was actually usable. I think the main thing was the wall that it was collapsed.
Yeah.
But the rest of it seemed like...
Either way, it's an abandoned piece of garbage.
Yeah. So they go up. I think you guys successfully got past the archers.
No. The first thing we did, we were going to have our 2 stealthy people, which were the monk and the ranger,
yes,
reconnoiter the area.
Yeah.
And they rolled their stealth roll to see if they got around. And we even said, you know, we're going to stay like 100 yards off to see if there's another entrance other than just this hole in the wall.
Yes.
And hopefully, you know, if they didn't pass the stealth, it wouldn't be that bad. But the ranger rolls a 1, the monk rolls a 2, and it's on.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was just... My paladin's like, you know what, screw this. They know we're here. The alarms have just gone off, and I went right for the hole in the wall.
Yes.
And that was a tactical error.
You get up to the hole in the wall, and 5 orcs come at you. Now, this wasn't a big deal.
No.
So you guys dispatch the orcs pretty quickly.
Didn't even have to use any spells on them. We just finished them off.
It was like maybe 2 rounds. So they go to the ogre. There was an ogre over to their right, and it was chained, and he decides that's a good idea to sit there and talk to it, And
No, I wanted to use the ogre against him. I figured if we could talk to him and convince him, that, he's chained. So why not say, hey, these guys who are chaining you, keeping you captive, wouldn't you like to go eat them? That was my plan, and it just backfired.
yeah. So
we should have ignored the ogre
actually,
and went in.
Spoiler alert, but it was actually the big guy's pet. Now, if you hadn't have killed it, it would have joined the battle that you guys ended up in.
Yeah.
So it was a good idea to kill it at that point. So once they're done that, they go over to the huts, which the orcs, or the 5 orcs came from. There were like 6 set up in a circle, and then there was a fire in the center. So you guys sit in a tent, you are searching it, and then when you exit, there's a shitload of orcs outside.
Yeah, and that was bad. So
there was
I ended
12 normal orcs, 2 from the bridge, 10 from around, and then there was the orc leader.
Well, I ended up almost critting on my initiative, so I get to go first. And my thing was, the way it was, there were 2 orcs down here, there were a couple here, 3 here, a couple here. So I figured, all right, I'll go down here and I'll occupy the first group.
Yes.
I could not hit anything.
No.
For the duration of this encounter, that was what killed us.
Yeah, that was
the
part
entire
of the
group
issue.
had serious issues. We couldn't hit anything. When we did hit, the damage was nothing. And my guy went down after 3 rounds, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just bad.
I will not TPK a party in encounters, but I will bring them to low health.
Mine was below low health. But on my first death saving roll,
Yeah.
I rolled a crit. What the hell? So I was able to stand up, I got healed, and we finished off the battle. From the first part of the battle, I think, took like 40 minutes, and nothing was happening. We couldn't put anybody down. Then finally, it seemed like after I rolled my crit, the group started hitting, and we barely made it through, but we blew all of our spells. I mean, we were totally down by the end of this thing.
The way I ended up setting it up was the orcs were originally kind of just... They weren't fully around, but I ended up setting it up so that there were spear throwers in each of the exits out.
Mm-hmm.
So that it was harder for you guys to get out so that you couldn't run. Because I figured there's a bunch of them, they would probably do this.
Yeah.
So...
Well, I mean, it's your tactics, and you had to do something as well to make sure the party didn't die.
Yes.
So, and that's something that needs to be said to DMs. I mean, we do have a DM that'll TPK a party.
Yes.
And I've reprimanded him about it a couple of times. I've talked to him about it. He's like, oh, but I rolled the crits right in front of him. That's what your fucking screen is for.
Yes.
Put a screen up and
Does he
roll
have a
behind
screen?
it. He does, but he won't pull it out. I'm going to run his table tonight because he's sick, and my screen will be there, and I'm not going to TPK the party.
No.
Now, that's a party that's only gone through 1 building so far, and you should have been through 3 at this point because you've got 2 more with 4 weeks left after tonight.
Yeah.
So I've got to power play them through Jalkun, which means I'm going to jump some stuff and not have as many battles as there should be.
No.
So I'm going to power play them through Jalkun and direct them to the mines where the prisoners are.
Yes.
And he's going to have to pick it up next week and power play them through that so they can get to the next 2 places and play 1.5 weeks per so they get to the end. And you've got to, as a DM, you have got to guide your table, not let them get so bogged down in lack of decision making. His thing is, oh, they have to debate about everything they do. No, it's lack of decision making. And this is what I'm going to do tonight because I know I'm walking to a table where they can't make a decision where they're going to go.
Yes.
It's going to be, who's your cleric? Okay? You have a feeling of dread. Your God is speaking to you that you have failed miserably. You need to go to Jalkun because something terrible's happened there.
Yes.
Now, if they refuse to go there, the first day they're walking, they're going to have a major encounter, and his powers are going to fail because he didn't listen to his God.
He'll be a peasant.
And that will be the point they realize, we have to go there or we're going to be stripped of our powers.
That means...
But as a DM, I don't like to have to do this, but sometimes with a table, especially on a timetable like this, where you've got 12 weeks, you have to encourage them to do what they need to do.
But the funniest thing is, if they're wearing armor or weapons that their God gives them, they will no longer be proficient.
Exactly. So their proficiency, if it comes from being a cleric and they have a mace, they're no longer proficient. So they're rolling at disadvantage all the time, aren't they? So that is...
I'm not sure what armor proficiencies do?
Well, the armor proficiency would just be, your speed's not reduced, stuff like that. But at this point, they probably don't have anything that gets their speed back up. But if I'm going to question whoever it is, and if they've gotten something that's magic that lets them not be burdened down by plate or something like that, they're burdened by plate.
Yeah.
So they're going to lose.
No, that thing was from...
that was from the boots, but I don't really care what it's from.
That was either Jolkown or... Is it Jolkown or Jolkoon?
Jolkoon.
Because I know it's the OU and I don't know.
Yeah, but either way, I don't like being a heavy-handed DM. And you've played at my table. Am I ever a heavy-handed DM?
Well, no, because we generally go in the direction that we need to. And
But
that's been the good thing with you guys. You've actually followed my advice. You went to the places that I recommend. I've only had to say it once.
Well, you've got a group of experienced players, and this group is not that experienced. Even though they have a couple players that are experienced, they just like to argue about what they're going to do and spend an hour and a half doing that and then finally play.
I
won't allow that at a table.
I think the only choice that you actually have to make was the original one going to Jolkown.
That's where you should have gone in the first place.
Yeah. Well, it was either that one or Harp Shield, I think. Harp Shield's a really bad idea for the first.
Well, Harp Shield was them following the elf, because that's where he was supposedly heading off to, and that was just that's a bad idea, following the elf.
Yeah.
If anything, you might be better off if you were going to follow somebody. Follow Jack, the dwarf, because that's a dwarven artifact.
That's still a really bad idea at level 2.
True, but
they
would be closer to where they need to be if they had have done that.
We had a table that did that. I think it was the table that...
Another table that's all new players. I mean, that's the DM that has new players every week. They followed Jack, and then they've just done weird stuff ever since.
I think he has a little bit easier time actually getting them to the places he needs to, though.
But here's my main tip to DMs with encounters at this point, because everything that's coming across is open world.
Yes.
Don't play it as open world. You need to encourage your players. If there is a line, you need to encourage them to follow that line.
Yeah.
You don't want to end up where they're at the final boss midway through, and then you're going back and doing the first stuff. Don't let your players do it ass backwards.
Yeah.
Encourage them. And if you have an indecisive table, play the God roll. Because, let's face it, if you have a Lightbringer cleric, that God is going to really want him to go and help those people who have been enslaved.
Yes.
He will. And he would probably say, you really have this feeling of dread. You have... That's whatever reason you want to make up for them to go, because you feel something horrible's happened there and you're being compelled to go there.
Yes.
And if your party argues with it and they go, well, let's go here, next time you swing, oh, I rolled a 20. No, you didn't roll a disadvantage because you've been stripped of your powers by your god temporarily.
Yes.
Oh, he needs healing. Oh, too bad. You don't have a healing potion? Oh, you're dead. If you have a difficult table, I don't TPK, but if you have a difficult table, sometimes you have to be a difficult DM.
Yes.
And that's the only answer. So, in these open world encounters things where you've got new players who don't really know what to do and they're really having issues at the table, encourage them to follow a path that makes sense instead of just going batshit crazy and running wherever they want. But I mean, that was our 2 weeks, and it was pretty quick. Cleaned the dungeon. It was a basic old school dungeon crawl, which was fun for a change.
Yes.
I do enjoy a dungeon crawl once in a while. So it was just bam, 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 go to a room, kill these guys, go, 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 free the people, and we walked them back to, we only offered to escort them back to a town that was on our path, that was safe. So we did that, we left them there and said, do what you got to do. And then last week was get killed by orcs.
Yes.
But hopefully... Our party really needs a long rest. Hopefully we can go in and batten down the hatches on that tower.
Yeah.
And get a long rest, because last week we had to blow all of our spells and we're totally dead in the water.
Yeah.
Because we have party members who are not at full.
What did you learn from last week?
That our stealthy people suck.
Don't sprint in.
Well, sprinting in would have been fine. It was just a matter of don't mess with the ogre. I mean, there were a couple of things we could have done differently, but I think no matter what, that was a battle that was going to be fought.
Yeah.
We fought it poorly.
Yes.
And that was the real issue. The real issue is bring loaded die so you don't roll 1s and 2s on all your attacks.
That'll go badly at my table. I don't care if it's in town. You're probably going to end up like full dead.
But, the key is, man, the rolls, when they go against you, it just really sucks. So, all right. That's it for this week. Actually, that's it for week 6 and 7. This week is week 8. After this, we'll be leveling up to 4th level and moving forward and hopefully getting done. I wish I could play tonight. I'm going to see if somebody wants to play my pally for me tonight, and then they'll still have him at the table because he is helpful. Maybe I'll let the guy who's the cleric play the pally.
So if you enjoyed this video, please like, favorite, and subscribe. If you have a bad DM or something like that, leave a rant about it in the comments.
Exactly. We want to hear about your bad DM experiences because we've had plenty of them, and you know you've got to do your best to. It's tough. Sometimes you can't find a group or a DM, and you're stuck with a bad DM. But once you learn the game, turn it around, be the DM, and make the change.
Yeah, you'll find out it's real fun. So
thanks again. Like you said, rate, subscribe, all that good garbage, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.